Well, British families are facing their tightest financial squeeze yet, as energy bills will soar by nearly £700 come April. Not only this, but yesterday the Bank of England raised interest rates to 0.5%. That's doubling them, increasing mortgage costs for homeowners. Chancellor Rishi Sunak unveiled a multi-billion-pound package to try to soften the blow yesterday. But will it be enough to help us cope with the cost of living crisis, as well as his impending hike in national insurance tax? Plus, will it be inflationary in and of itself? Well, our London reporter Alice Porter joins us live from the borough of Brent, one of the most deprived areas of the UK, to get residents' views on the cost of living crisis.
Alice, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's talk a bit about the energy price cap increase.
Hi there, good morning. Yes, bills had been rising steadily for a number of months, and that's mainly due to the fact that the price of gas had gone up significantly. And then yesterday, of course, we had this announcement from Ofgem that said the energy price cap would go up by 54%, which is a record-breaking increase. Now, Rishi Sunak, he's announced a number of support packages to help families, but the Prime Minister himself, he's admitted that around half of these are loans. And the real concern is that how this is going to impact some of the poorest families in the country. I was out and about yesterday speaking to people to get their reaction to the news about the energy cap price increase, and this is what they had to say.
I think it's going to be really difficult for people who are already stretched, and they've got other stretchers coming up as well. I think it's going to be really hard. Everything's gone up, and this is a massive rise. Some people will not be able to afford it.
It's like a race to the bottom, isn't it, with the energy companies? We put them in, they allow competition for gas, electricity, but none of them could afford to hedge, so it's like they were offering low prices, and then as soon as the prices went up, they hadn't hedged on them, so they couldn't afford to sell it anymore. So here we all are in a spiral of increasing prices.
I think it's a great idea to do that rebate, but the rebate is needed now, when everybody is heating their home over the winter months. So they need it now, not in 2 or 3 months' time, when their heating bills have gone down.
Well, I've got a fixed price till December, but the cap, we're talking £600-700 a year increase in the price of electric or gas. And then you've got fuel, which is absolutely astronomical at the moment. Top that with the VAT increase, and people's wages just aren't going up, so it's going to hit people hard. I'm trying to save a few bob here and there. Whether it gets worse or not, I'm not too bad at the moment, but yeah, everyone's feeling the pinch, I think, and people are just going to stop perhaps going out or shirk on heating or, sell the car or something.
And Alice, that man that you had in the Vox Pop said that it's not just energy bills going up, it's other things as well too. There's many things, it seems, that are squeezing ordinary people right now.
Absolutely, that's correct. Wholesale oil prices have gone up, so we all know it's much more expensive to fill up your car than it was a year ago. Shop price inflation almost doubled in January. We've got national insurance going up in April. So the problem is people's wages are just simply not going up in line with these increase in prices. And that's why we've had the Governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, who's come out and said that he expects this squeeze on the cost of living and the squeeze on people's living standards sadly is expected to continue until next year. And there's been a number of stark warnings from charities who are very concerned about who this is going to impact, and particularly those who are from the poorest backgrounds.
It is such a tricky time for so many people. Alice, obviously you're in London at the moment, which is seen by many as the most affluent area in the UK. But there's a lot of diversity within London itself as well. Will people in London be able to weather the storm better than other parts of the country?
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, Tom, because obviously there's been lots of discussions about levelling up. And of course, as you're saying there, yes, London is seen as one of the more affluent areas of the UK. But it's still important to stress that there are significant areas of deprivation in London and the South East. I'm in the borough of Brent right now, and this is one of the poorest boroughs in London. And what you're seeing here is that the average UK salary, the average salary of people in Brent is about £25,000. But the average property price in Brent is over £600,000. And that's the issue particularly that you're dealing with in London, is rent prices and property prices are so high. Now, over the last sort of 6 months or so, we've seen an increase in property prices across the country. And actually, in regards to that, London has been the least affected. It's been more likely that we've seen price increases in the southwest. But there's still an enormous gulf in house prices in London compared to the average price in the rest of England. So, for example, the average price of a property in London is almost 3 times that in the north of England. And so many people struggle to pay their mortgages and struggling to pay their rent. And it forces a lot of even professionals such as myself, you get forced out of London. And the problem is with that is then you're faced with very high commuting costs. The most expensive commuting costs across the UK are people who are travelling into London, with the average person paying about £5,000, which is really, really significant. And the concern is next month, guess what? Those prices in your rail fares are about to go up. And that's been told by the Department for Transport. So as I was saying, I think it's important when we're having these conversations about wealth across the UK that, yes, London may be seen as more affluent, but there are some real issues to do with deprivation, and the cost of living, particularly in terms of housing and transport, is very significant.
Yeah, it's such a tricky issue. Alice, thank you so much for that report. It's really important that we don't forget London here. We don't try and be London-centric, but also it is a very important part of the country. The population is more than Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland put together.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, I think Alice is absolutely right about how this is affecting ordinary people. And I think many of the justifications that we see, for example, the green levy and the green taxes, is to protect future generations. But I saw a tweet the other day which I thought was very true, that we're not going to have a future generation if all of the young people are not going to have children because they can't afford to even get on the property ladder.
This is a drum I keep banging. I have written about this a number of times. People want to have children in this country, but they feel like they can't afford it. They feel like they're priced out, particularly with regard to housing. It's such a shame.
Absolutely. And I think it's such an easy thing for them to win over young voters. It is quite curious and strange why they are not doing it.